Now, the Great Pyramid of Giza is probably the most stunning of all these ancient structures.
The granite in the Great Pyramid comes from more than 500 miles to the south. If you look at the famous King's Chamber, its walls and its roof are all made with gigantic granite blocks. Those blocks on the roof of the King's Chamber weigh 70 tons each.
The Great Pyramid of Giza continues to defy explanation. Towering over the desert for thousands of years, this monument remains one of the most enigmatic structures on Earth. At its heart lies the King's Chamber, a room constructed with granite blocks that each weigh an estimated 70 tons. These blocks, incredibly, were sourced from a quarry more than 300 miles away in Aswan. Egyptologists claim they were transported on wooden sleds over wet sand. But that theory quickly falls apart when considering the engineering required to lift such massive stones more than 300 feet above ground. No modern explanation fully accounts for the logistics. What we're staring at may be the remnants of a technology long lost, one erased by what some researchers argue was a cataclysmic event around 12,800 years ago. An ancient apocalypse that didn't just end a civilization, but wiped its knowledge clean from history. Evidence suggests that during this Younger Dryas period, global sea levels rose not gradually but in devastating pulses. Some surges likely happened at a rate 3 or 4 times faster than anything recorded in modern times. Imagine coastlines being battered by walls of water, obliterating anything in their path. Not just villages or cities, entire civilizations could have been scoured from existence. What remained might have been ground into rubble and buried in sediment, becoming indistinguishable from natural rock formations. This context reframes the question archaeologists often ask: where is the evidence? The answer might be that it's not missing, but unrecognizable. If human-made structures and artifacts were destroyed and mixed into the geological record, they would resemble naturally formed conglomerate rock, shattered fragments bound together, indistinct and overlooked. Compounding the mystery is our own tunnel vision. When archaeologists search for signs of past civilizations, they tend to look for reflections of our current one: pottery, tools, and familiar forms of technology. But what if ancient civilizations didn't follow our path? What if their methods were rooted in principles we no longer understand? There are traditions from ancient Egypt that describe priests chanting as massive stones floated into place. To most modern scholars, this sounds like myth. Yet recent experiments in cymatics, the study of visible sound, show that sound can influence matter. It's no longer science fiction to consider that sound, in the right conditions, could exert physical force. Some modern researchers are quietly working to rediscover what may have been forgotten. Using principles that differ from conventional physics, their experiments are based not on combustion or mechanical force, but on resonance and implosion. These are not concepts rooted in modern industrial machinery, but in vibration, frequency, and geometry. Nikola Tesla once theorized about such technologies, many of which were quietly sealed away by governments following his death. His ideas, once deemed eccentric, are finding new life in underground labs, where engineers are now building devices with no moving parts. These machines rely on pure geometry, tuned to resonate at natural frequencies. One such researcher, Malcolm Bendall, has reportedly spent years developing energy systems that require no conventional fuel, no internal combustion, and no emissions. The core idea is deceptively simple. Everything vibrates. If you can determine an object's natural frequency, you can manipulate it. These concepts echo through ancient lore, buried myths, and suppressed patents. They speak of an understanding of nature that doesn't fight against it, but flows with it. If such technologies did exist thousands of years ago, they would have seemed miraculous, even magical. Today, they remain invisible only because we aren't looking through the right lens. What if the Great Pyramid is not just a tomb, but a machine not merely a monument, but a clue left behind by survivors of a forgotten age who knew their world was coming to an end. In the ruins of our past, there may be echoes of an intelligence that reached heights we have yet to reclaim.